Hold on. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Everybody coming in. Ooh, loud. All right. Okay. Everything is ready. How's everybody doing? Sorry for going MIA. Let's repost the live, inshallah. Let's share it and get people in, inshallah. I'll bring up the first person while we're waiting. Please, guys, keep it to non-Muslims for now, just 'cause I haven't been live for like however long. Okay, I don't know who's a non-Muslim and who isn't, to be honest. Ooh. Okay. Hello?
Yeah, hello. Yeah,
Yeah, what's up, man?
yeah, I'm cool.
Good, good. Are you Christian, Jewish, atheist?
I'm a Christian.
Okay. Why are you not Muslim?
Um, I'm not Muslim because when we read the Bible, the Bible emphasizes more about the word of the word of the word of the Lord more than any other person. If whether you are a prophet, whether you are angel, whether you are any way, but there's a contradiction. That's that's what I've seen in Islam. Like they do pick and choosing because you can't choose this is good or this one is fine, this one is corrupted and those things. That's why I said nah, it can't be a word of God because why do you have to do pick and choose? Because I've debated a lot and for what they say, it doesn't mean that it's a true religion. So if you can tell me more about it, then we can move on.
Tell you about what specifically? I'm a little confused.
About Islam, what I'm saying that they are doing pick and choosing. Do you believe that the Bible is fully corrupted or is partially corrupted?
Yeah, I believe it's partially corrupted. You have to be on the screen.
That's
I
my
can't hear you.
that's my point of view because if you claim that the Bible is partially corrupted, that means it doesn't make sense because how can
How does it not make sense?
God's word be changed? Yes, if it's partially corrupted, it doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't believe God's word insofar as what he speaks can be changed, but I don't think that you believe that the Bible is the verbatim word of God, though, right?
Not verbatim, but like
Right. So if
it's,
it's not the verbatim word
if
of God, then you're already admitting to the fact that it's based
no
off of people's words.
so but Quran is not verbatim from God
Yes, it
because there's no
is.
evidence.
Yeah,
There's no
no, no,
evidence.
no,
Where's
no,
the
no, no.
evidence?
I'm talking about the position. Okay, your position when it comes to the
The
Bible. Hold
position
on,
is
hold on, hold on, hold on.
okay.
Your belief when it comes to the
Okay.
Bible, you don't believe it's the verbatim word of God, right? You believe it's inspired, right?
It is verbatim.
It's the verbatim word of God, the Bible?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, brother. Okay, let's see. If I show you that it's not the verbatim word of God, then you'll change your mind?
How do you define the
I'm
word
gonna show you
verbatim?
from
Like
the. I'm gonna show you the
no,
verbatim
like
means that word for word, it's God's words.
word for word,
Yes.
word for word, word for word. That means it's God's words.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't know God, do you want to tell me that
That's not my point. I'm
someone
talking
from
about what you.
somewhere will claim that this
Listen.
is from God?
I'm not.
No,
That's
no,
not
no.
my point. That's not my point, brother. I'm saying in regards to what you
That's not how we do debate.
believe. I'm saying in regards to what you believe.
No, no, we don't do it like that. Like
All right,
you can
brother.
say that, that's not how we debate. So
I'm
you
asking
can
you
quote the
what you
Bible. I can also quote the
believe.
Quran. Yes, based on I believe that it's a revelation word from God.
Okay, meaning that
Not
it's you
not
believe. You believe it's word for word from God. That's what the word verbatim means.
yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay,
sure.
so every single
Based
sentence
on
in the
my
Bible
meaning.
is from God.
Yes, based on my meaning, yes.
Okay.
It's from God.
So here, I want to read these 2 verses with you, okay, or 3 verses. It says, to the
Okay.
married, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 7, to the married I give this command, not I, but the Lord. So Paul here, he's saying, this is coming from God, yeah?
So what did Paul receive?
I just want you to go along
What
with
did
me.
what did Paul receive
Can you
before
just
writing
follow
that?
along? Can you just follow along?
No, 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 no.
You can't just
What
follow
did Paul
along?
receive? Because there's no evidence.
All right, brother.
It's the same thing.
There's no evidence for anything. All right.
Yo, so why does any of this matter? Um,
Before we get into questions and stuff, can you just tell me what you believe in?
I believe in Norse paganism.
Norse paganism. Okay. So,
Yeah.
what's your question specifically?
So my question is, why does any of this matter?
Any
If
of what?
someone's
That's very
beliefs,
vague.
yeah, I'm gonna explain. I'm gonna explain it. Um, if someone's beliefs are not harming anyone else, um, or themselves for that matter, why should we try and change their beliefs? Why are you up here trying to change people's beliefs? Because some people feel like personally attacked by this stuff because they hold religion so dear.
I'm not attacking anybody. I'm just challenging the belief, right?
Well, that's not what I said, but I said like some people may take that very personally and may take it as a personal attack,
But that's not my
and
fault.
so I just well, I mean, yeah, but still, like, why are you trying to change beliefs? Why does it matter? Why is that
Because,
any of
well,
your
okay,
business?
oh, no problem. So, do you agree that there's only one truth as it pertains to reality?
Um, I suppose so.
Right. So, if there's only one truth, yet there's multiple different beliefs and ideologies and all of these things in terms of reality, then they can't all be true, right?
Yeah, but can you empirically prove with physical, measurable evidence that specifically Islam is true or Christianity?
Well, nobody
I
claims
mean,
that you know, empirically verify something which is supernatural or, not physical or anything of the sort. Nobody ever claims that. That's not the only form of proof, though.
what do you mean?
Yeah, so you can make arguments, logical arguments, such that the individuals can come to an agreement as to what could pertain or what could be the Word of God or be coming from God as revelation, etc. And even as it pertains to just like a natural understanding of how the world is and all of these things, we could come to a basic sense or a basic conclusion of what would be more likely. So that would be the way that I would argue this. I wouldn't say that you could empirically prove one over the other. You could make some arguments in terms of like the scriptures, because those are things that we could actually observe in all of these things and test whether or not it's the case that they're, truly from some sort of all-knowing being. But other than that, I don't think that's going about it from an empirical stance is going to be, much of a fruitful discussion to begin with.
Hmm. I I don't know. I can't seem to wrap my head around it. You know what I mean?
What is it that so you agreed with me that there's only one truth, right? We just got to
Yeah,
figure out what that one truth is, right? We don't want to live
not
in
necessarily.
delusion. So would you prefer to live in delusion or would you prefer knowing that you're believing in what's true?
Well, for one, why religion isn't necessary in
But can you
society.
just
This
can you
isn't.
just can you just answer my question, please?
What was your question? Repeat it.
I'm saying, would you rather know the truth of the matter, or would you rather live in delusion?
How do you know which is which when it comes to
That's why I'm saying that we would
something like
make
this?
we would make arguments. We would come to that which is more probable and reasonable, as opposed to the other stances that you could take.
Well, yeah, but everyone believes in their religion just as much as you believe
Okay, but
yours.
there's justified belief and there's unjustified belief. So we're talking about that which can be justified.
Meaning,
Meaning, so when it comes to epistemology and such, you have to understand that just simply believing in something does not make it necessarily true, right? You have to have some sort of justification for that belief, otherwise it's just going to remain as, what we would consider blind faith, right?
and yeah,
Yeah.
but you would understand that most people's reason for believing in what they believe is very personal, like personal
I don't
prayers.
disagree with you that that's what people do or what people believe, but what I'm saying is that it's not the more viable manner in order for us to come to a conclusion of what's correct or incorrect.
So you're talking about like a consensus among like a large crowd of people is what you're
No,
saying.
no, even then
Oh.
that doesn't verify proof or truth, right? What I'm saying is if we make logical arguments, okay, such that we could
Mhm.
eliminate different belief systems and so on and so forth, we're going to come to a conclusion of one belief system being more probable than all other one or all other belief systems,
Okay.
right?
Um, yeah, I think I get it.
Okay. So,
Um, yeah, I just still don't see the value necessarily of having religion in society, even if we come to the correct one. It's not an important thing, you know.
how's it not important? If it's the case that this religion, let's say, has a viable means of, you know, having a society flourish and so on, then that actually would be something which is beneficial, provided that it's the true religion.
Well, I mean, there's societies that are secular and thrive despite being almost entirely secular.
I'm not negating that
Um,
they thrive, but what I'm saying is that a religious or a religion that has some sort of manner in which it could operate within a society, if it's the case it's the true religion, it will be much more viable than that of a secular one, or it will prosper more, provided that the people are actually adhering to it correctly.
what is your proof for that?
Well, naturally, we would say that if it's the case there is some sort of all-knowing being who is giving us a means or a way of life in order for us to operate under, then naturally that all-knowing being is going to know the best way for us to live, right? Because it knows
Um,
all facets of these particular issues that could take place.
that is true, but who's to say that someone in a theoretical position of power wouldn't be able to manipulate these things or just lie
But
about
that's
them
what I'm saying,
outright?
is that we're saying provided that they're adhering to it in the proper manner, right? Not just making up their own thing.
Well, how would you keep that in check?
Good question. Now, when it comes to, at least for an Islamic society, we don't say that power resides with one particular individual. There would be a ruler amongst the people, or what we would consider a caliph, but under this caliph there are going to be scholars and so on, such that they would be more so advisors for this individual, and they would be judges as it pertains to judicial matters and so on. So it's not just like a dictatorship, if you want to put it that way.
I mean, I think it in that case depends on what your political beliefs are, because if the way you're talking about this, like how it helps society flourish, and things like that, I think it would have to, coincide with the government, and so I guess it also kind of depends on that, but also, I still don't believe that's a valid way of doing that, because in the 60s when a lot of social views were changing, um the Bible was manipulated, even with those filters to try and stop people from just outright lying or like twisting verses and such, it still failed, and verses were still twisted and put in the Bible that we read today.
Okay. What does that prove in regards to my belief? I don't. We can verify the fact that the Quran wasn't changed. We have chains of narrations that go back to the original individual. We have the interpretations as it pertains to the original individuals that were left with the religion itself. So that wouldn't necessarily be a problem, Islamically speaking. That's why you don't
Well,
find that many, you don't find that there are many large sects of Islam. In fact, there's only one large sect in Islam, uh, being the majority. It's about 85 to 90% of people who all agree upon the same understanding.
and what about those who don't? Are
The
they
remaining
just less?
the remaining 15 to 10% is literally every other individual, right? That's from 2 billion people, let's say. That's 1.8 billion people who all believe or understand Islam in the same manner. So it's not really something which is going to be that significant.
I mean, yeah, but are those people just less Muslim than the majority?
Depends. If they're educated on Islam and they still remain or choose to remain, how do I put this? Opposed to what is actually true or what is known to be true, what is known to be passed down, um, then yeah, they could be considered non-Muslims. But if it's the case that they were just ignorant and they don't necessarily know their beliefs or anything of the sort, but they just identify this way, and be it because that's how they grew up and such, then that would be a different way. There would be a different sort of understanding to that. But regardless, I mean, it doesn't really change what I'm talking about. Okay, what we're saying is we want to know what is actually the truth of the matter. Okay, so you believe in multiple gods as a Norse pagan, right? You're a polytheist.
Correct.
Okay. So why should I take a position of believing in multiple deities or positing the idea of multiple deities if it's more probable to say that there is only one?
Why is it more probable?
Yeah, because naturally, if we were to use things such as Occam's razor, for example, then we're going to come to a conclusion that that which is a simpler explanation is going to be much more viable unless evidence could be substantiated to show otherwise.
I mean, I suppose so, but I also wouldn't understand why that applies to religion necessarily. I
It
thought that was
applies to
more for
it
like,
applies to everything pretty much. So I'm saying from a naturalistic standpoint, without any scripture or anything of the sorts, right? Through our observations of the universe, or however, whatever arguments that we make or anything, why is it the case that I would posit an idea of multiple deities as opposed to just one? Given that we can't even come to a conclusion or empirically verify the existence of one, we would have to do this via arguments or some sort of deductive argument or inductive, abductive, whatever.
I think the best explanation, at least for me, coming from my own framework, would be that these deities are not all powerful. Um,
But
they
you're already presupposing that these deities exist. I'm asking you, why is it the case that I should posit that there are multiple?
I, how do you know this specific one is all powerful?
Well, no, but hold on. You're missing my point. Me and you agree that there is at least one deity which exists already. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So why should I now come to your position and say that there are more than one? Why should I make that jump from 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 or 1 to 5?
I don't think you should.
Okay, so then there's no valid reason to believe in multiple deities, at least from a naturalistic stance.
I don't think there's a valid reason to believe in any of them outside of anecdotal evidence.
Why would it be anecdotal? You could come to a conclusion of a, necessary existence.
I mean, you could, but like it's just the fact that
Yeah, so
all, all
if you can make an argument for a necessary existence or a necessary being, then you are justified for believing in at least one.
yeah, but why? Okay, I think I got lost somewhere.
Okay, look, very simply, okay, if it's the case, we can make an argument such that we could come to a conclusion that there is at least one necessary thing which exists to explain all other things which exist, right? There's no reason for me to now say that there is 2 or 3 or 4 of them from a natural stance. By natural, I just simply mean via, using your logic, some sort of, argument as it pertains to design, or argument as it pertains to deduction, whatever it may be. Okay? So far, so good.
Yeah, but
Okay.
wouldn't by that logic the theory of the Big Bang would that also be valid in this situation?
It doesn't explain why it's the case that all these things exist, and I would posit the idea that the Big Bang is something which is not necessary. It was an accidental thing which occurred.
How you know God wasn't? What came before God?
That doesn't make sense, because we would say that God is eternal. If it's necessary, if something is necessary, that means it's unchanging essentially. And ceasing to exist or having to begin to exist is a change. So it wouldn't work.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't a thing being created necessitate something creating it?
That's my point. We don't say that God is created, right?
I mean, that's not what I meant. Let me rephrase. Wouldn't a thing existing necessitate it being
No.
created by something else?
No. Just because we observe all the things around us as being created, existing, and therefore they're created, that doesn't follow for every single thing, because we're talking about a necessary existence. If it's something which is necessary, then it therefore cannot just begin to exist. It can't have some sort of other explanation outside of itself.
Yeah, but that's circular reasoning.
No, it's not. What's the circle?
It's what the circle is that this thing is necessary, and
Mm-hmm.
so it created everything, sure, but
Okay.
then how is that thing eternal? It is
You're not telling
necessary.
me how it's a circle. You're just asking a question.
Well, I'm explaining it.
Do you
It's
what do you understand by the term necessary?
it is it is necessitated that this thing must be for
It must
this
be how it
reason,
is, right? It must be in order for
essentially.
all other
Yeah,
things to exist, right?
yeah. For this
Okay, that
context,
means
yeah,
that means that it's a sufficient cause for all other things. Yes.
yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, that means that there's nothing outside of it such that it would explain the existence of other things. Okay? Including itself. Now, when we say the word necessary, what's also entailed by that is that it means that it cannot change essentially. Because if it changes essentially, there has to be something outside of it to explain it. And then, in which case, we're no longer talking about a necessary existence, we're just going to be talking about another contingent thing. Do you
Mm.
understand?
I mean, I I think so. Sorry, I'm not very good at conversation, so I'm trying my best to understand.
Okay, look,
Um,
I'll give it to you as an example, okay? Okay, we have
okay.
2 boxes, alright? Everything that depends on something to exist exists in box A, okay?
Mhm.
You get? There has to
Yeah,
be something outside of box A to explain everything that's contained within box A's existence. Do you understand?
yeah,
Okay. Then we have on this side something, we'll say box B. Box B is going to be that which explains box A. Okay.
yeah.
Alright. Everything within box A requires an explanation for its existence, I'm sorry. Okay. So
Mm,
something outside box A, which in this case would be box B, has to be able to explain box A. You understand?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So if it's the case that box B, right, whatever is in box B, can explain box A, then it means that it can't be something which changes. Because if it's changing, essentially, that means that it's depending on something else in order to change it. You understand?
yeah.
Okay. That's going to be entailed under the definition of necessary. So it being eternal is going to be something which is of its necessary properties, you could say. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So if it's
Listing
eternal,
over one.
right, if it's
Yeah.
eternal, then it means that it does not have a beginning or end. We're saying pre and post-eternal in this case. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So now my question to you is, we have this thing and we agree on it being eternal in order to explain box A. Okay. Why should I say that there's more than one of this thing if I already have a sufficient answer with just one?
I don't know.
Right. There's no actual, justified reason to posit more than one being that exists this way. Right.
Well, yeah, but it's just what I believe.
I know that's what you believe. Okay. Now, but at least from a naturalistic stance, okay, or sorry, from a natural theology point of view, we could come to the conclusion that there's no reason for you to believe what you're believing in, right? From a natural stance.
I guess.
Okay. So then what other reason can you posit for me such that you could say that your belief is what is the more probable and reasonable explanation?
I don't know.
Hmm?
I don't know.
Okay, so why do you think that what you believe is true? Aside from like an emotional stance, like what logical reason do you have to believe in what you believe in?
I don't think religion is logical.
You what?
I don't think religion is like objective, if that, like, not necessarily logical, but like objective. Is
Well, if
kind of
you're
what I
saying
mean.
it's either logical or illogical. If it's illogical, that means that there's some sort of law of logic that it breaks. So that means that it can't be true, definitionally speaking.
I mean, trying to, I'm trying to think of an example, but like I don't know if it would apply here. Um, I guess like the best example I could think of is like humans in general. Humans are considered to be illogical. Um,
I think
you,
I think you're using the term illogically loosely. Okay. Um, if by illogical you just simply mean, you know, not likely to occur or something, that's not the same thing. That would be improbable, right? But illogical means that it can't be the case. Like there's some sort of flaw within the logicality of it, meaning that it breaks one of the three laws of logic: law of identity, law of contradiction, or law of excluded middle. Okay? If it's a case that breaks one of these three laws, the classical laws of logic, then it cannot be true, definitionally.
keep explain those laws to me again. It's been a while since I've.
Okay. Law of identity, we're just simply saying that A is A. Okay. So if I was to
Mm,
say I have a water bottle, and I'll say that I have a bottle of water. Okay. If it's the case that I'm talking about the same one bottle, but using the term in a different way, then I'm still just talking about the same one bottle. Like saying 1 plus 1 equals 2, or 3 minus 1 equals 2, right? The answer is still the same, correct?
yeah.
Okay. So that would be an example of the law of identity. When it comes to law of non-contradiction, we're just simply saying that a contradiction cannot exist. I can't say that a door is both completely open and completely closed at the same time, the same one door at the same time. You
Yeah.
understand? Okay. And then you have the law of excluded middle, right? Very simply, law of excluded middle is just saying that you cannot, something cannot be uh, essentially one way and not one way at the same time, right? So far, so
Yeah.
good? Okay. So if something breaks one of these three laws of logic, then it can't be true. Why am I blanking on that?
Okay. So I just I can't understand like why the concept of like eternality and stuff being eternal. Uh, I just can't understand why that isn't contradictory. I feel like for everything there has to be a beginning and an end. It doesn't exactly make sense that there isn't
That there isn't what, sorry?
that there isn't a beginning and end.
A beginning and end to what?
to, I mean, anything really.
Okay, well, we know that there
Yes.
is beginnings to certain things, so you have a
Yeah,
beginning, right?
yeah, but like when God, just because that's what we're talking about, I guess. It it would follow that it has to have a beginning and an end, right?
No. There's no law of logic that it breaks for something to exist eternally.
So this is all just like in the hypothetical. This is all just in the abstract.
Well, it's not necessarily hypothetical or quote unquote abstract, if by abstract you mean that it's, just conceptual. What I'm saying is that okay, we have our physical realm here, okay, and we have a metaphysical realm that we're trying to posit or understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just because we don't fully grasp the understanding of it doesn't mean that there is something illogical about it. Okay.
I guess so.
Okay. Maybe take some time to listen while I'm talking to other people, and you'll be able to understand more of what I'm saying as some conversation goes on, and then I can bring you back later if you'd like. Okay.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bye, Kumsam sister. I'm trying to speak to non-Muslims right now.
Oh, I just had like one question, but it's okay. It's okay.
What's the question?
So, I think it was from Hadith or someone. I heard that one of the signs of the judgment is everybody becoming a Muslim. Is that true? Like, is that a false statement or something? Like, I don't know. I think this is what I heard from other Muslims. Like,
I don't recall that being the case. No.
yeah, because like I heard it from a lot of Muslims in my country.
Maybe you're mistaking what they're saying. One of the signs of the Day of Judgment is that Islam is going to enter every household. Okay, that would be more accurate, you could say. But
Oh, but no, actually, that's what they were saying. They were saying when everybody becomes a Muslim, that's a sign of the Day of the Judgment. I don't know what they were saying.
no, no,
So
there's
it's
we don't
nowhere?
have anything that says that. Not to my knowledge, no.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much, actually. May Allah bless you.
no problem, sis. You too. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
You hello?
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's up, bro? Why is Christianity false? Like, what's gonna be the evidence that makes Christianity false?
Are you the same kid that was on the other live earlier? And that said
With
that
who?
there's no correlation between there being a shoe in your mouth?
Yo, chill.
But you're a
Okay.
troll. Get off here. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Yeah, how you doing? How you doing? I'm doing good.
I'm good. Are you Christian, Jewish, atheist?
I'm Christian.
Okay. Why are you not Muslim?
Why am I not Muslim? I would just say like I don't see a good reason to be Muslim.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Like, no proofs, no evidences? What kind of evidences would you like? What would be your, way to be able to determine that? What specifically are you saying?
Yeah, like I don't really think we have anything anything to like verify that Islam will be like the true religion.
Okay. So I'll put it this way. How do you verify that Christianity is the true religion? And let's see if those proofs that you're using for Christianity, if they work for Islam or not. How about that?
That's just a red herring.
How is that a red herring?
Yeah, because I'm asking you to justify like why Islam is true. Now you're asking me to justify
The
like
prompt is,
Christianity
why
is
are you not Muslim? Not why can I explain to you if you're not Islam, right? So I'm critiquing your position
yeah,
to
I
see if it's
told
something
you.
which is valid.
Yeah, I told you I'm not Muslim because I don't think there's any valid reason to be
Right, and I'm
Muslim.
trying to understand what you understand reason and proof and evidence to be. Okay. Hence the reason why I'm asking you for the justification for your belief.
I mean, if you're just like, are you like asking for my epistemology or something?
Yeah. How do you come to
Well,
the conclusion
I'm a
of
rationalist.
justification? Okay, so how do
Yeah, I'm
you...
a rationalist.
Cool. So what sorts of proofs and evidences do you have for your religion, sir?
Yeah, I'm asking
Oh
you
my god.
why should I be?
What kind of proofs and evidences do you have for your religion, sir?
Yeah, what does that matter?
Alright, bro. Go up on Discord. LARP, absolutely. Hello?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
I'm atheist.
Okay. Sure. You have to be on the screen, sir. Alright, going once. Going twice. Come back when you're ready to be on the screen, man. Hello? La Isla? Or Ila? I don't know how to say your name. Hello? Hello? Girl, did you fall asleep within the 5 minutes that you requested? Alright.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother.
Quick question. How do you guys reconcile the Hadith Qudsi where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I'm paraphrasing so I don't lie upon what Allah says, where Allah says the son of Adam tells lies and abuses me. Where the son of Adam says that I have a son, and the son of Adam says I cannot recreate them like I created them before.
What hadith number are you talking about, sir?
Yeah, I'll pull it up. I have it in my. I have it paraphrased in my head, but give me a second. I'll pull it up.
No, Frank, it's not haram for a woman to speak publicly according to the Quran, but according to the Bible it is. It is very haram according to the Bible.
Bukhari 4974.
What is it?
Bukhari 4974.
Alright, it says the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah said, the son of Adam tells a lie against me, though he hasn't the right to do so. He abuses me, though he hasn't the right to do so. As for his telling a lie against me, it is his saying that I will not recreate him as I created him for the first time. In fact, the creation was not easier for me than new creation. As for his abusing me, it is his saying that Allah has begotten children, while I am the one, the self-sufficient master, whom all the creatures need. I beget not, nor was I begotten, and there is none like unto me. What do you need an explanation for? It literally explains it in the hadith.
No, I have no problem with the hadith. What I have an issue with is the how do people reconcile Ibn Taymiyyah's position where
Hey brother, get off my panel. What are you on about?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, brother.
I have a question for your sister. I don't know if it's because my level of Iman is weak, but like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowing. Well, then what is the purpose of life? What is he trying to prove, if that makes sense?
What do you mean trying to prove? He doesn't have to prove anything.
But he's all knowing, so what was the purpose of him creating life, if that makes sense?
In terms of humans, he tells us in the Quran he created humans for the purpose of worshipping him. And jinn.
Alright, okay, but if he's all knowing, then what's the point?
Alright, bro. Hey, brother and sisters, if you're a Muslim requesting, please don't request right now. I don't know what these questions are, bro. Alright. Hello? Braith?
Somebody requested me up. I never pressed request.
No, you were requesting. That's why I pulled you up.
Why? I don't know why, because I never.
Hello?
Good evening.
Yeah, what's up, man?
You okay?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm smashing.
Alright. Beautiful. How can I help you, man? Are you Christian, Jewish, atheist?
I'm Catholic.
You're Catholic? Okay. Why are you not Muslim?
Well, because I believe that. Well, I was never Catholic originally, but after the experience I had, I come to look into religion and look into what did he call it? No, they date the old manuscripts and piece the books together. Forget the word for it. They have like the writing on the old lambskin, little bits of silver with text written on it, and then they use them to reconstruct, so to speak, the original texts that they would have had going back.
Where do you find any scholar that says that we know for certain that the text we have now that's considered the Bible is what goes back to the original authors?
Well, we actually have it dated back to the 1st century. We don't have
Not
the
a single
complete
scholar,
Bible.
not a single scholar
We
says that
don't,
you could date the Bible back to the 1st century. That's not true.
we don't have a complete Bible. There is only parts. You've got the Gospel of John, that dates back to the P66, which dates back to the 1st
P66 is a
century.
credit card.
They label them numbers and letters because there's that many of them.
Now, I know
With the document.
P66, the one that you're talking about, okay, is the size of a credit card. It is not the entire Gospel of John. And some scholars don't even date it back to the 1st century. If I'm being generous, I'll say late 1st century, sure. But the
Yeah,
entirety
we
of the
found
Gospel,
that. We found that in Egypt or something, somewhere mad like that.
okay, but
Which if you go
having
back
a
to that
credit card
time,
size,
it's
hold on, having a credit card size manuscript of some words of the Gospel of John doesn't tell me that the entirety of the Gospel of John that we have today is the same.
That's part of. We also have the
That's like
book of Isaiah.
Isaiah
dates
is not the
back.
New Testament, sir. That's the Old Testament.
The New Testament and the Old Testament are the same book.
No, it's not.
So in the book of Isaiah, where it talks about there will be a man.
Grat, you're not loading in. You have to request.
Hello, how are you?
Yes. Are you Christian, Jewish, atheist?
I'm a Buddhist
Okay. Why are you not Muslim?
because I think the Quran is just a bunch of fairy tales, more or less, and there's a lot of scientific inaccuracies
Cool.
within it as
Scientific
well.
inaccuracies, sure. What kind of scientific inaccuracies?
Well, I mean, there's two things that stand out for me. One, the Quran speaks of the story of a moon being split in half,
It's not a scientific inaccuracy, sir.
and there's also like the story about how Muhammad rose to heaven on like a winged beast of sorts.
Also has nothing to do with science, so neither
Well,
of the
that's
two
not
things that you
science.
just said.
That it may not be scientific, but it's very hard to believe.
Okay.
And I think anyone who believes that Muhammad rose to heaven on a winged beast,
That's not even in the Quran, firstly. It's
it is in the
It's in the
Quran.
Hadith, it's not in the Quran. That's the first
Oh,
thing.
it is in the Quran.
It's
But
not
go
in the
on.
Quran. It talks about the night journey. It doesn't say that he rode a winged beast in the Quran. Okay. So, firstly, has nothing to do with science, what you're saying. This is to do with the laws of nature, and the laws of nature are merely probabilistic. So we say that it is not likely for it to occur. You could say that, but that doesn't negate the idea of it actually being able to occur.
So what you're saying is it's possible
It
that
is
he
possible.
rose to
There's no
heaven on a winged
contradiction.
beast.
Yeah, there's no contradiction.
Well, anyone that believes that anyone could go to heaven on a winged animal, to me, is unreasonable.
Cool. Not an argument against Islam, though. That's not a reason to disbelieve in it, right? You could say it's less probable for it to occur, to which I would say, yeah, I agree with you that it's not every day that we would see an individual be able to ride some sort of winged beast up into the sky, right? But that doesn't mean that it's not the case that it could happen, right? We just don't observe it occurring, hence the reason why we don't say that it's probable to occur. But it doesn't negate it as being true or not true. Do you understand?
Yeah, I suppose it is possible that that's true. I acknowledge that.
So if you have some sort of actual argument against Islam, meaning you said scientific errors, neither of those two things were scientific errors, right? But if you were to have, like, for example, people like to bring up embryology in the Quran, okay?
I'm familiar with that, so we go with that.
Okay. Do you want to make the argument?
Well, I forgot exactly how it's worded, but
Do you want me to
I
make
be-
the argument for you? I can make the argument and refute it. I don't
if you would
mind.
if you would like,
Okay.
since okay.
Typically, what people bring, I believe it's chapter 23, verse 14. They will say, "Oh, the Quran says that bone is formed before muscle," and yeah, it says that bone is created before muscle. The verse in the Quran, it doesn't say the word created when it comes to bone and muscle formation. It just simply says that bone, or rather some sort of skeletal body, is preceded prior to muscle, which is true scientifically speaking. We know that cartilage precedes muscle formation. But even if I was to posit bone here instead of skeletal formation or anything of the sort, it would still be correct scientifically speaking as well, because we know that bone and muscle occur, their creation occurs simultaneously, which the Quran is not negating that, because it doesn't use the word create between the two words. That's the argument, and that's the refutation for you, sir. Where'd my rubber band go?
What about the sun setting in a muddy?
That's just talking about somebody's perspective. So, like, if you go to the beach, right, and you were to watch the sunset, that's your perspective of the sun setting, correct?
Yeah.
Right. The verse in the Quran that's talking about that in chapter 18, I believe it's verse 81, all it's simply talking about is that Dhul Qarnayn is the one who observed this occurring. So it says that a human individual observed the sun setting. That's it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm curious. What flavor of Muslim are you?
What flavor?
Yeah, like there's different kinds of Muslims, right? Like what kind are you?
Vanilla, Arab, Sunni Muslim, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to know is why Muslims are so quick to reject Jesus Christ as God.
Didn't you say you're Buddhist?
I am Buddhist.
So why do you care if we reject Jesus as God or not?
Because Muslims reject Jesus Christ. They reject the resurrection.
Yeah,
And
but we don't
I'm
reject
curious.
Jesus, though. We believe Jesus is a prophet.
I understand that.
Right. There's no reason for me to believe that he's God or believe in the resurrection. There's no justification for it.
Well, I mean, the Bible very clearly says, and mind you, I am not a Christian, but the Bible does say that Jesus says me and the Lord are one, or something along those lines.
Yeah,
So,
but I
and
don't believe
if
that
it's
that means
very
that he's God, though. I would understand that verse in its due context. I don't really understand why we're talking about Christianity right now, though. You're not a Christian, unless you
I
are.
I don't have to be a Christian to talk about Christianity.
Okay,
I'm
but
just trying to
what
understand the
benefit is it bringing in this conversation right now?
I'm trying to understand the Muslim perspective and why Christianity is
Not true? That's it?
yeah.
Okay. Very simply, there's no justification to actually believe that Christianity is true. The Bible is not something which is preserved, so we can't actually tell if these are the things that Jesus truly said. As it pertains to the actual content itself, there are issues within it, be it contradictions, mistakes, historical inaccuracies, etc., such that an individual would be justified in saying that this is not something which is inspired or coming from an all-knowing creator or all-knowing being. As it pertains to Jesus, quote-unquote, being God, this is only based off of the sect that you believe in, because there are also Christians who don't believe Jesus is God as well. So this is going to be a matter of interpretation, and to which I could be
So
easily
in
justified
short,
in not believing that he's God based off of the other interpretation.
you don't believe the Bible to be an authentic source. In short.
Yeah, it depends. Not in its entirety, no. I believe there's some truth within it, but it cannot be verified unless you use the Quran to verify it. And the way that you would do that, or what the reason as to why you would use the Quran to verify it, is because you can verify the Quran to be fully true.
Earlier you asked me if it was possible that the story of Muhammad rising to heaven on a winged animal, if that was possible, and I conceded to you that it is possible, although, kind of hard to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Would if I asked you that if it's possible that the Quran is false and you've been led astray, if that's possible, would you say yes to that as well?
False in what regard, though? Because if you're saying false in regards to the content that it presents, no, because the content that it presents can be verified. You can verify the Quran to be accurate, right? There's certain aspects that maybe we don't have access to, be it those specific miracles or certain stories of prior prophets and such, but we wouldn't base the truth of Islam or how we come to the conclusion that Islam is true off of those things. We would base it off of the things that we can verify, right? Such as information that was inaccessible at that time period in the 6th and 7th century, to where this individual who was living there in Arabia didn't have access to it. Okay. We would just posit the idea, well, if it's the case he didn't have access to it, where did he get this information from? And obviously, nobody else would have access to that information either. So we would come to a conclusion of some sort to say that it is more than likely that this is coming from a all-knowing being, right? Or at least some sort of other being that has knowledge of these things that is not human or anything. But obviously we would go with the idea of what he himself is presenting within the Quran, because there's no reason to doubt what he's saying. So, like, if you wanted to say that there's something false about the Quran or false about Islam, you'd have to present some sort of actual issue, whether it be an internal issue or some sort of external issue, be it that it contradicts what we know in regards to, let's say, for example, if the Quran said 2 + 2 is 5, right? But that contradicts the natural reasoning that we know, then you would be justified in positing the idea that the Quran is false. But what I'm saying is that there is nothing that's like that in the Quran. Do you understand?
Okay.
Right.
I understand.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that it's if it can't be falsified, and I'm not saying that's the case. If it can't be falsified, it is possible that it's not true, simply because there's a lack of evidence.
What do you mean it can't be falsified? I just told you how you could falsify it.
But that's not the case.
What do you mean that's
from
not
what
the
you said.
case?
The Quran, let's say there aren't any false statements in the Quran,
Mm-hmm.
which is what you
So
abide by.
that would mean that it's internally and externally coherent. Okay? That
Sure,
raises the
yes.
probability of it being actually, true, right?
Yes,
It wouldn't
yes.
lower it. Okay. So if it's raising the probability of it being true, then yeah, you could say there's a 0.0001, but I would say it's almost near 0% chance of it being false based off of the evidences that it does provide as well. Because we're not only talking about the fact that it can't be false or it can't be falsified, we're saying that there's also proofs and evidences to suggest that you should accept it as being true. You understand? So those two things in conjunction with each other would raise the probability of Islam being true to basically, near 100%. It would be almost 0% to say that there is something which is false about it, or the chance of something about it being false. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
So under the pretense that everything in the Quran is...
Sorry, one sec. Go ahead.
Let's just say that there aren't any false statements in the Quran. Let's go with that.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't evidence that it's the truth. It is not
I agree
evidence
with you.
that...
That's why I said there's two ways that we would verify. Firstly, we would say that because of the fact that there is no false statements that are within it, there's no contradictory statements, etc., we would at least posit the idea that this could possibly be from something which is all-knowing. Okay, there's a possibility simply because of the fact that there's no issues with it. But that doesn't mean that it definitely is just based off that. I agree with you on that. Okay, but what I'm saying is that the Quran also has another layer or another facet to it such that we can substantiate it as being true. So there are things like prophecies that are spoken about, and even these historical statements, some of the historical statements that it makes such that we are able to now verify them in our time period, that they couldn't verify in that time period, they raise the probability of its truthfulness. Okay, so like for example, we know that there's a passage in the Quran where it says, for example, that the heavens and the heavens and the stars did not weep for Pharaoh when he passed. Okay. And this was obviously, it's just a statement that's being made in the Quran. It's not something that they would have been able to have access to in 6th or 7th century Arabia, because the language of the ancient Egyptians was lost from 5th century BCE all the way until about the 19th century AD. So for that entire time period, nobody actually knew what they believed in. But what we found on these inscriptions from the 19th century onwards, 19th century AD onwards, is that there was actually an inscription on the, whether it be the pyramids or anything of the sort, I'm not too sure where exactly, but I could bring you the evidence of it, is that there is verbatim statements that say that the heavens and the stars wept for Pharaoh when he would pass, or for the pharaohs when they passed, these people of high status. Okay. So we would say, well, how is it the case that this individual would actually know that this was a statement to even be made in that time period, provided or given the fact that nobody in that time period would have had access to that information? There's no traditions that we find or anything of the sort such that this is something which is being passed down along the way. He wasn't in ancient Egypt. He didn't know the language of the ancient Egyptians. Nobody else knew that stuff, right? You understand? So there are certain things such as that example that I gave you, and upon many, many other ones, right, that the Quran posits so that it would raise the probability of it being true, okay, to the point where, the probability of all of them being true combined, right, is almost a near 0%, okay? But the fact that they are all true, okay, is what makes it, or makes an individual to be more justified to believe Islam is true as opposed to not. Okay. You understand?
Yeah.
Right. I could give you, like, if you want, a website that talks about these things, because firstly, we don't only take the Quran in terms of prophecies and these types of things or evidences. We also take the hadith. Okay, I'm not sure if you know what that is.
I do.
Yeah. If you want, I could give you a website and you could look into some of those things, and you could feel free to come back. Or if you're not much of a reader, I could send you some YouTube videos about it as well.
Okay, what's the website?
So the website is, if you just go on Google and type in 101 Prophecies of Islam, I believe it'll be like the first link that shows up. It'll say provingislam.com, and you could read all of them there. You don't have to buy anything. They're all free. And they'll have the references and everything for you as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem, man. Look forward to seeing you again. Have a good night.
Peace out.
Yep. All right.
Hello, thank you very much for your
How are you, man? Are you Christian, Jewish,
I'm good,
atheist?
thank you. Nothing. I'm just living in doubt.
You're what? Can you speak up a little?
I don't believe anything.
So you're an atheist.
Yeah, basically, I just.
You don't believe in
this
God?
life. No, basically, I have a question for all of the religious, basically, especially Islam. I think you're Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
There is a contradictions in Islam, basically, between the Hadith and your Hadith and the Quran.
What's the contradiction, sir?
Regarding the punishment for adulteries. If you look at the Hadith, there is a different punishment, and the Quran is a different punishment. Basically.
Yeah, one of them is abrogated and the other isn't. It depends also on what specific punishment we're talking about in terms of adultery, because adultery could be of two forms. So there could be fornication and there can be adultery. Adultery is going to be known as, like basically cheating on a spouse. Okay. So if you cheat on your spouse, the punishment is different to if you were single and you end up, fornicating and get caught and such. You understand?
If you look at the Surah...
Do you understand what I just said?
Basically, these are contradictions.
Do you understand what I just said?
I didn't
Can you repeat what I just said?
No, I can't repeat what you said. As you can't repeat.
In one ear, out the other. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's up? I'm Christian.
Okay.
And I want to ask you some questions, okay?
Okay.
First of all, my English is not that good, okay? So, first question, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you live? Which country?
What does that have to do with anything, sir?
Because my question is, why do Muslims go in Christian countries and they start debating over, your religion is not the right religion. We come in peace and we pick you guys up. And everything you give to us is
really
war, and
really
we don't need your religion, to be honest, yeah?
Oh, okay. Well, I if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure it's the West that has left the Middle East in, turmoil. Where are you from? Because you sound like you have an accent.
I'm from Germany, yeah?
Germany, okay. So you know that
Yes.
Germany also terrorized a lot of people as well in the past.
It was normal war. It was not... Look, when we look in the Middle East...
Yeah, who's causing
There-
what's happening in the Middle East? Who caused that?
Wait. Taliban.
The Taliban in the Middle East? I'm not talking about Afghanistan,
Wait.
sir, and you can't say that word on live.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
So
we're
prior
going
to
to
that,
Syria. Wait. Syria.
Hold on, because this isn't something that just happened yesterday. Okay. When do you
okay.
think that this all started?
In which country?
In the Middle East in general. When do you think this all started?
Oh, it started very early, yeah?
But what
I
does that
don't
mean?
know.
When?
I don't know the exact time.
Because you don't know anything about the history. That's the problem.
Okay. I don't. So my friends who, they were.
Brother, so
how do
you
call
just
it?
admitted that you're speaking out of ignorance and you're just going based
No,
off of
no,
what you
no,
see
no,
today.
no.
Okay, so I'm asking you a simple question. When do you think this all started?
At the time, I think it was 2006.
2006? No. Way before that.
No.
Yeah. Try like the
Okay,
1800s,
wait.
brother.
Okay, then I got a question. And not especially as not only Middle East, also Africa. We have Boko Haram, we
Yeah,
have
again, who do you think is responsible for that? The people going in and
no.
colonizing these
So
countries?
okay. So, but I never saw somebody screaming, "Oh yes, I kill people because
You can't say
Jesus
that
is
word
my
on
God."
live, sir.
Okay, sorry. TikTok friendly. Look, they all shouting
Hey, brother,
to their
you're
God.
literally avoiding everything I'm saying. Who went
No.
into these countries and left them in turmoil?
So you want to say that the Western countries come to their countries and
Yes,
um
that's literally why. That's literally
okay,
why there was many African countries that were under British colonization,
but
and they still are
also
till today.
okay, but also under Arabic as how
They
does
also
Islam?
went into the Arab countries as
Okay, I got
well.
the question. How does Islam got spread across the whole global?
Depends on where specifically, because it spread in different ways in different areas. In Indonesia,
Ah,
it spread via trade routes, and in other areas, it spread
yes,
via the conquest or conquering of
come,
a certain country.
yes, come, look, come on.
Wait,
In
did you hear what I just said? What did I
yes,
say?
yes.
Okay, tell me the two things that I just said.
You said in Indonesia it got spread. I would say it's the friendly way, of course,
The
but
friendly way, okay. Well,
yes.
that's very
But
arbitrary.
yeah, sometimes I also think that
All right,
Islam
bro.
can
This
spread
is a waste of time.
in peace. But no, don't say that. Northern African, they're wearing
This
white.
isn't proving or disproving anything, sir. I'm
Ah,
trying to talk
so
about proofs
no.
and
But
non-proofs.
okay, but I want to ask you questions because I
But
can
these
hear from your
questions don't
accent.
mean anything. If it's the case that the one of them is true and the other is not, these questions mean nothing.
No, because you're ignorant and you know you
I'm
live in
ignorant.
Western countries.
You thought that all of this started in freaking
You
2006. Are you
live in
okay?
Western countries,
Oh my
but
god, brother.
but you criticizing Christianity.
All right, bro. I'm the ignorant one, but he's the one that blurted out 2006. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, how are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm alright. How are you?
I'm doing pretty fine myself. How can I help you? Are you
Well, I'm
Christian,
just
Jewish, atheist?
Catholic.
Catholic, okay.
Yeah.
Why are you not
Yeah.
Muslim?
Well, from personal experience, from what little I know about the Quran, from what little I know about its teachings, from my exposure to it, and just from hold on, let me just think about how to word this right. Before I say anything, is the Quran meant to be a continuation of the original Torah and Injil? Is that what it's meant to be?
Like the way that the Old Testament and New Testament is? No.
No.
It's its own
I mean,
separate scripture.
okay, but it's still claiming under the same Abrahamic God, right?
Yeah. So it's correcting the prior scriptures because they were corrupted.
So then, it's correcting it, but doesn't, I don't remember the passage, but doesn't the Quran say something about is it not respecting basically was a quote that was validating the previous scriptures that came before.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
confirms the previous scriptures. What does that mean?
Are you asking me what confirms means?
Yeah. Like, do I take this as a general confirmation or should I take it as an absolute confirmation? Like, verbatim, every single word in those prior scriptures is correct and from God.
What does the text say?
It doesn't say either one. So I'm asking you, what do you think is going to be more plausible under Islam? Provided that it's a scripture that is separate to the other scriptures and it says things that differ from the other scriptures. Which one do you think is going to be more plausible and reasonable under Islam?
Isn't the fact that it says things that are different from the other
Can you
scriptures
just answer my
whilst
question,
claiming?
sir?
No, but I'm trying to understand your question right now. You're asking me which one is more plausible, considering that Islam says things that are different.
In regards to a general or absolute confirmation. Okay, if we observe differences between the two texts, very blatant and obvious differences between them, to the point where we know that the Quranic author is actually aware of what is in these prior scriptures and actively goes against it using specific verbiage and so on that alludes to the prior, or the original language of those prior scriptures, right? If we could see that, then we would know that it's more plausible and reasonable to come to the conclusion that it's generally confirming these things and not absolutely. Yes.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree. Okay. So then you would have to explain to me how it's the case. Like, for example, I'll give you an example, okay? In Exodus, right, it talks about Moses' hand being leprous, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's a disease, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the Quran, it says that Moses, it's a command to him, right? In the same way that it is in the Exodus story. God commands Moses, put your hand in your cloak, and when it comes out, it is going to be bright and shining with no disease on it. Okay? So it's a very clear and direct allusion to what was being said in the Exodus account, correct?
Sure. From
Okay.
what you've said, yeah.
Right. But it's going the exact opposite way. It's saying the opposite of what the Exodus account says, correct?
Yeah.
Right. So it's not confirming what the Exodus account is saying, correct? Only generally the story, right? Being that there was some sort of miracle with his hand. But in regards to the specific details, it's going against it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, meaning it can't be an absolute confirmation, sir. It would only be a general one.
So why do you choose to assume that it's that this difference is out of correction and not a fallible point of Islam?
Okay.
Why do you choose to see it as a correction?
Good question. And I can answer you in two ways. All right. Firstly,
Mhm.
at the very least, we can acknowledge and agree, right? Because this was what your original question was, right? In
Mhm.
regards to confirmation, we could come to the conclusion that the Quran is not absolutely affirming every single word, correct?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
so it's general, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now what we want to do is find out which of these two narratives is the correct one, yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they can't both be right. It's either the case that he had disease or he didn't have disease, yes?
Mhm.
Okay, good. So, what we want to know is which of these scriptures essentially is true and which one is false. It's either one or the other, yes?
Yeah.
Or neither.
Either one.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sure.
So, what we would do, we're not going to go based off of these stories specifically because we can't verify these stories today. I can't go back in time and see whether or not Moses' hand was leprous or not, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, good. But what we can do is observe the scriptures for what we have today. And I'm not referring specifically to the stories now, but rather the accuracy of each one as it pertains to things that we can verify. Okay. So if there's any historical inaccuracies in the scriptures, if there's any contradictions, if there's any mistakes, any of these types of things, you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. My argument is that the Quran has no mistakes in it as it pertains to historical accuracy, as it pertains to any contradictions or any sort of mistake, whether it be internal or external. Okay. Whereas
So you think it doesn't have any mistakes?
not a
The
single one.
Quran.
No, not a single one.
Interesting.
Okay. But for the Bible, I believe it does, and we can observe those very easily. Do you understand?
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So it would be on you to either present an argument against Islam in that regard, right? To which you could
Mhm.
show that there is some sort of actual error that we could verify today in all of these things. Or I would do that for you with the Bible. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Have you heard of the Catch-22 of Islam?
The what?
The Catch-22 of Islam, the Islamic dilemma. Have you heard of that argument?
You just went through that with me, and I just explained it to you, and you agreed with me.
No, I did not go through that with you.
We
You must be thinking of
we
something else.
literally just spoke about general and absolute confirmation. Are you okay?
Yeah, that's fine, but that's not what I'm on about. You asked
That's
me
what
to
the Islamic
prove
dilemma is about.
there must be more than one then, because that's not what I'm on about. You just asked me that it's on me to prove that what was it that
All right,
there
what's
is
the
more
Islamic
fault
dilemma?
in-
What's the Islamic dilemma, sir? Then
Cool. Right. So briefly, like to put it briefly, it's the crucifixion dilemma. So
that's not the Islamic dilemma, bro. All right. Crucifixion. What about it?
If Jesus wasn't crucified, which is what Islam says, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus was not crucified.
Mm-hmm.
If Jesus was not crucified, then he was either wrong about predicting his death, which would undermine his role as a prophet in Islam and make him a false prophet, which subsequently would make Islam false for following a false prophet. But if he was crucified, it would contradict the Quran's account, thereby contradicting the word of Allah and make it inherently false.
Nice.
Do you see the issue there?
No, yeah, I see a big issue, and it's in your logic and reasoning. Okay.
Cool.
This
Explain it to me then.
presumes, right? This presumes that because I'm assuming that the content or the idea that you're getting, that Jesus professed the idea that he was going to die, is coming from the Bible, correct?
No.
Oh, where are you getting it from? Where do you find the sayings of Jesus? Enlighten me.
Wait, sorry, no, repeat what you just said. I answered too quickly.
Okay. So your claim, the first point that you made, okay,
Mhm.
is that Muslims would be following a false prophet, Jesus in this case, right? If it's the case that that he wasn't actually crucified because he predicted his own death, right? That was your
Yes.
point. Okay. So
Yeah.
where do we find that he said anything in regards to predicting his own death?
The Bible.
Good. Okay. Why should I
Okay.
believe what the Bible says? I just told you my position. I believe it's corrupted. I don't believe that he said those things.
Okay. I see your stance now. So
Right.
you're okay. So by saying that the Bible is an unreliable historical source, everything that is said in the Bible, including the fact that Jesus was predicting his own death, is thereby wrong. Okay, cool. So what's your evidence that the Bible is any more unreliable than the Quran?
Yeah, because we're
you
talking
said the
about,
different.
right now I'm talking to you about metaphysical certainty as it pertains to the Quran. I don't believe that I'm going based off of a historical account. Okay. So from a historical stance, what the Quran actually says regarding the crucifixion is that it was made to appear so. Okay. So
Okay.
the fact that there was something that occurred, there was this event, and the Quran affirms that, all it's negating is that it was actually Jesus. All right. That's the point of
Okay.
contention. And what we would observe historically is that, yeah, crucifixions happened all the time. The point, or rather the contention here now, is to prove that it was actually Jesus who was crucified, right?
Okay.
Right. But even then, the Quran doesn't negate that this is what the people of that time saw or observed. So even then, there's still no issue
Yeah, because
historically
this
speaking.
guy is, yeah, okay.
hmm So there's no
Okay.
actual issue in what you're
But
saying.
now I've got another problem with that, because that's another
Go
I
ahead, what's the
mean,
problem?
yeah, that's another thing that people usually say when I bring this up. They say that the person that was crucified in replacement of Jesus was disguised, and the apostles would have seen this disguise, and they would have been misled and all of that stuff,
Okay.
right?
All right.
Where I'm not following is, one, what was the need of having anybody crucified in the first place if God could just take Jesus up to heaven as he did according to the Quran? What was the point of having a devout Muslim, by the way, just be crucified in a humiliating death for
Okay.
no apparent reason? That's the first one. The second one is, if according to the Quran the apostles were also Muslim, does Allah deceive? Was this like Allah is
Okay.
deceiving his own
Okay, I got
Muslim
the
ummah?
question. I got
Yeah,
the
cool.
question.
Yeah.
Okay. So, firstly, the substitution theory idea, okay, this is just
Mhm.
this is a posited idea as it pertains to some of the scholars of Islam. Not everybody believes this, nor does the Quran actually say that. Okay. All the Quran says regarding the narrative or the event is that it was made to appear so. It doesn't say he was replaced. It doesn't say that somebody else was put there or anything of the sort. Okay. This is an idea that's posited by an Islamic scholar because there are early Christian groups that believe that. Okay. Do you understand?
But you can make logical conclusions from that much, right? Like God,
What do you mean?
Allah doesn't. I mean, Allah doesn't do anything illogical,
No,
right?
no, no.
So
I
if it's-
just want to be clear that the Quran doesn't say that he was replaced with somebody else. Okay, this is a theory that's posited to try and explain the situation or the narrative. You understand? It's not
Okay.
something that's for certain. Like, you don't have to believe that that's the case, that somebody else was put there, right? Okay. That's something that some people believe because early Christians posited that idea, some early Christian groups. Okay. That's the first thing. Now, in
Right.
terms of the apostles and what they believed, okay, first and foremost, okay, if we're going to go from a historical stance, none of the apostles were actually there, all right, according to their own testimony. They say that it says that all the disciples had fled from the scene, right, prior to the crucifixion happening.
Okay, but
Okay,
even
so
even if
they
that was the
themselves didn't
case,
see it.
even if that was the case, they would still. Okay, so they didn't see the crucifixion happening themselves, but as Muslims,
No, but
they
they themselves would not be deceived in that case, right?
how would they not be deceived if
Because they
he's
weren't
not
there.
if Jesus wasn't crucified, but they're led to believe that he was crucified as a direct action
No, no,
taken
no, no,
by
no, no,
Allah.
no. That's presuming. That's presuming. Again, that's presuming that they did believe that, right? I don't believe that the
Oh,
disciples
so you think that
believed he
the
was
apostles
crucified.
didn't believe that he was crucified?
Nope, there's no evidence to say that they did or didn't. That's the whole problem. That's the whole
Really?
point, is that there's nothing that you could actually verify from this. You could come to some sort
Oh,
of
so okay. So
historical
the
or
issues that I
probabilistic
can't prove
understanding.
that the issues that I can't prove that the apostles believed he was crucified.
Correct.
Okay, hold on. 2 seconds. I've got this written down somewhere. Mark's Gospel, 1472.
Right. Prove that Mark actually wrote Mark. That's the problem that you're going to be
There
left
is
with.
plenty of historical evidence that the Gospels were written by Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I mean, are you being serious?
I am being serious.
Okay, what's your evidence that it wasn't? You're making the claim that it wasn't.
The majority of textual critics that literally say that there is nothing that actually attributes them to these individuals early on. The fact that there's no actual apostolic chain of succession that goes back directly to those individuals. There's a number of different reasons.
I mean, it's all good saying that. I could just as easily go and say the opposite. But what does that actually tell me? You're making the claim that
No, you can't just say the opposite. You would have to, if you say the opposite, you'd have to present the evidence of those things, right?
Fine,
So
then as
I
you say in
can't
the former,
present evidence of something that doesn't exist.
you can prove that it didn't happen. You can evidence that it didn't happen. If not, how can you
No,
make the
because
claim?
that's not my position. My position is that a crucifixion did happen historically.
No, I'm not talking about the crucifixion now. We're talking about evidencing that the apostles didn't believe
Right,
that.
but I can't. Wait. Okay, I gave you evidence already to suggest that the disciples.
You made a claim.
Hold on. No. It's actual evidence that's in your book that you believe in. Okay, it says the disciples were not there. Right. They fled.
Yes.
It says they all left. Okay, so they weren't there. That's already that in and of itself goes against what you're saying.
They don't have to be there to then either make an opinion on whether Jesus
Okay,
Christ
but then that
was
falls into an issue of the conjecture aspect then, right? Even if it's the case that they did believe a crucifixion occurred or that he did die, it does not mean that they necessarily believed that this crucifixion was going to be something for the salvation of their sins. You understand? So there's no issue even if they did believe in a crucifixion or believe that he was crucified. You understand? The problem or the contention you would have is to prove a resurrection and to prove that the disciples believed that this crucifixion, right, was a means of salvation for the sake of humanity's sins and so on. Those are the two things that you would have to prove, to which the resurrection has no historical evidence whatsoever. And as it pertains to the second thing, as it pertains to their beliefs, you're not going to be able to prove that.
That's okay. So you're assuming that them believing that the crucifixion was for the salvation of their sins is the like key point here. But
That
regardless
is
of
the
whether
key
they
point, because simply just believing that Jesus was crucified, that's not an issue. There's
it
no
is
issue with that.
because he
No, there
was
isn't.
not crucified, and they were led to believe that.
Yeah, there's
That's
no
the
issue with that because there's no actual thing which entails some sort of disbelief in them believing that, because that's what was made present for them in that time period. That doesn't mean that they believed that the crucifixion was what they required for the sake of their salvation or sins, because what my position would be, right, and what we would say that the early disciples believed, is that they followed the teachings of Jesus, right, the historical Jesus, which the historical Jesus was simply just calling to monotheism. He's calling people back to the way of God and so on. This is what we could substantiate via historical evidence. Right.
I'm so confused as how you can say that them believing that Jesus was crucified is not them being deceived
No,
by the
I'm not saying deceived. They're not deceived. First of all, for them to be deceived, they would have had to actually have been there and been present. Okay. They would have had to have been the direct audience. Okay. I don't believe that they were the direct audience, and neither should you, because the Bible doesn't say that they were. Okay.
They don't have to be the direct
You do.
audience to be deceived.
You
How?
do.
I
Because
could deceive you about
deception.
something without you seeing it yourself.
Hold on. Deception means that they themselves were the ones who witnessed this and can attest to the fact that they witnessed it. Okay. But in reality, it didn't happen. Versus.
What definition of deception are you working on?
Hold on. Versus what the
Okay.
Quran is saying, okay, is that the people who were present, the Jews that were there, all that they're merely following, which the disciples would also fall into this as well, the people who come afterwards who didn't witness it directly are only following conjecture regarding the matter. Okay? So if they're following conjecture and there's no actual verifiable way for them to know whether or not it was Jesus who was crucified, then conjecture is not the same thing.
What do you mean by conjecture? What does that word mean? Sorry.
Conjecture just simply means like hearsay. Okay? Meaning, I heard from a friend who heard from a friend that this is what happens. Okay? To which that's the category that the disciples would fall into. In which case, it wouldn't be deception.
How do you think verifiable data was spread back then? I mean, there wasn't a TV that was broadcasting
I'd say there's a TV.
Jesus crucified.
No.
So how else
But
would they have
there's-
gotten the information to be deceived
there
by?
was writers, there was people who could write and they document things, and we don't find any evidence or any documentation of anybody of a primary witness to this event. All we have is people who come after, who claim that they heard from other people, but they don't tell us who these other people are.
Okay. The crucifixion of somebody who people believed was Jesus is something that historically is like not disputed. Like, are we okay on that? Like, it's not historically disputed.
People believed that Jesus was crucified. There's no issue.
Yeah,
with
that a likeness to Jesus or Jesus himself, whatever.
But it depends. There are also people who don't believe he was crucified, but sure. Generally speaking, from a naturalistic stance, yeah, sure. We'll say that majority of people believe that he was crucified.
Cool. So would you say that the majority of people back then would have also believed that he was crucified?
Yeah, and I don't have an issue with that. Even if they did.
I'm really struggling here. Like, I'm struggling to see how you don't have the issue.
Because you're failing to distinguish between what the crucifixion is, okay, versus what your belief of the crucifixion entails, okay? A man just simply being crucified, okay, that's not the basis of the belief of the people at that time, okay? You understand? Jews didn't believe that they had to follow a man who was going to die and resurrect for the sake of their sins, right? They believed in their laws. They believed in the Torah. They believed that you were supposed to go and sacrifice at the synagogue and all of these different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
They weren't under the impression that some man was going to come and die for their sins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But your belief is that the crucifixion means, right, or what you're essentially missing the point of what you're trying to imply here, that the crucifixion necessarily means that Jesus died for the sake of humanity's sins, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the problem. Okay, this one you can't verify. This one you can verify. And there's no issue with accepting this one because it doesn't change what they actually believed. Okay, this one does. Do you understand the difference now?
I see the difference, but I'm not coming at it from a point of where crucifixion is this thing that leads to our salvation. I'm not trying to attack this line of argument.
Then that would be the only issue in regards to it. Because if it was the case, let's say Jesus actually spoke right, and said, I'm going to die and resurrect for the sake of humanity's sins. Okay, let's say he actually said this in history. Then there would be an issue in regards to deception, because he said one thing, but God allowed for another thing to occur, which is that he didn't die for humanity's sins. Okay, that would be an issue. But for him just simply dying, right, or being perceived to die, there's no issue in there. Okay, people die all the time. God can also choose to save somebody if he wants to. There would be no actual issue in regards to him dying or not dying. It would be the same result afterwards. Do you understand?
Okay.
Okay.
But okay.
You get it,
Should we
yeah?
read it back now? I see what you're saying. I think I missed out something. Do you know? Have you heard of Ibn Abbas's accounts on this?
Ibn Abbas?
Sorry.
What does that have to do with this?
I'm getting there. I think it's a hadith that is recounting jeez, I can't get my words out. Sorry. It's a hadith that is recounting about this situation. I feel so stupid for
Jesus
having
and the
written it
disciples?
down. Yes, between Jesus and the disciples.
Yeah, but this is based off of Judeo-Christian sources, which goes back to what I was telling you before.
No, but this is a Islamic hadith. This is a certified Islamic hadith.
It's Ibn Abbas is recalling of what could have been the case due to getting it from Judeo-Christian sources. Okay, it's not Muhammad, peace be upon him, giving revelation or anything of the sort. It's a individual's opinion of what could have occurred, based off of what they heard from Jewish and Christian sources. It's the same as the Ibn Kathir explanation, essentially. So it's not of revelation. It's just a posited understanding for the whole thing, that the disciples, Jesus had met with them and so on, and told them who is going to take my place for the sake of Allah and such. Right? That's the one you're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is coming from Judeo-Christian sources. Remember earlier I told you that there was certain early Christian groups that believed that Jesus wasn't crucified, right? Okay. That would be where he would be getting that information from, essentially. Is that he's not saying that this is revelation, rather what he's saying is that this group believed that this was the case, right? And therefore he's positing it as a theory of what could be an explanation to the verse of the Quran, but he's not saying that it's definitive. You understand?
Yes.
Okay.
I see. Okay. So I think I've come to the understanding that I haven't looked into this argument enough to argue it properly. I don't think I'm doing it justice. So just for the sake of furthering my knowledge, can I just get you to run me through your counter arguments? I'm just going to take notes on it, and then I'm going to look at it in my own time when it's not 1:33 a.m. and come back to you. Is that cool?
Sure. Like in regards to this specifically? I mean, I have more points than just what we spoke about, but I could give you. I'll just go through.
In this specifically,
okay.
one at a time. Thank you.
Okay. Firstly, as it pertains to deception, right? It would only be deception in regards to the disciples if it was the case that they themselves had actually witnessed this. That's one. Okay. The second point in regards to deception is that if it was the case that Jesus was, and we can verify that he was, right, actually preaching of his death, burial, and resurrection and such, yet it didn't actually occur, that would be a point of deception, right? But that would be the point that you would have to actually prove, right? Okay. Thirdly, what did we say? Islam does not go against the historical narrative because it says that it was made to appear so. So it posits the idea or the understanding that the people that were present there did actually witness it, okay? Or witnessed a crucifixion occur. The fourth thing is this is all recorded, by the way. You could always just go back and watch the recording if you want. You know?
Oh, is it? Where can I find it then?
It's on my YouTube, under my live section. If you go on my YouTube link is in my bio.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, if you go to the live section, you could just watch the recording over. Okay.
Cool. I won't waste any more of your time then. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
When will you post this? Sorry.
It's already there. Like, you could literally go back and watch it now if you want.
Oh, lovely. Cool.
Yeah, no problem. That was a good conversation. I'll probably take like maybe one or two more. Hello?
Hello? Yes, yes.
Yeah, how are you, sir?
So, Itachi, quick question.
Are you Christian, Jewish, atheist?
I'm Christian. A quick question.
Sure.
You mentioned on multiple occasions that your Quran is not flawed and there has no contradictions whatsoever, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. You have to be on the screen. Hello? You have to be on the screen or I can't hear you.
Okay, well, I'm going to read something to you, okay?
Can you give me a reference?
Yes, I'm going to give you two different surahs that both contradict themselves.
All right, what's the
And
argument
you're gonna,
before you just tell me the verses?
argument is that you said that it doesn't
No,
contradict
no.
itself at all.
What's the contradiction that you're trying to posit?
That there's contradictions in the Quran.
Oh my god. Which one are you trying to posit? What is the argument about before you give me the verses?
Okay, so first contradiction. Who created the earth?
Who created the earth, man? God.
I'm asking you, okay, did he create the earth first or did he create the heavens first?
Yeah, so as it pertains to the two chapters that talk about this, one of them is talking about a sequential creation and the other one is just talking about creation generally. It doesn't give
But
you
it
a
contradicts
sequence.
itself.
It doesn't give you a sequence in the other
It does.
chapter.
It says, yes, it
literally
does.
doesn't. Chapter 70,
It
chapter
literally
79
does.
is the one that you're talking about. It doesn't give you a sequential one. Thank you.
41 says it first created the earth,
Mhm.
correct? The
Yeah,
second
that
one,
one's
79,
sequential.
says the heavens was created first. So
79
it
is not
contradicts.
telling you that it was first. It just simply says that the heavens were created and the earth was created. It doesn't give you sequence. I'll pull it up for you, just so you can see what I mean. You don't have to keep leaving the screen.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It says first Allah created the heavens,
Alright,
and then second Allah
read it
created the
together.
earth.
Okay, we'll read it together.
Read it.
Which
Pull it
verse
up. Share it on
specifically
the
was it?
screen. Share it on the screen.
I am. What's the verse?
41, 9, 12.
No. For 79, what's the verse? I think it's like the end of the chapter or something, or towards the end.
27 to 30.
Okay. Alright. It says, which is harder to create, you or the sky? He built it, raising it high and forming it flawlessly. He dimmed its night and brought forth its daylight. As for the earth, he spread it out as well, bringing forth its water and pastures, and setting the mountains firmly upon it. Where does it say the heavens was first and the earth was second? All it talks about is that the heavens were created and the earth was created. It doesn't say first the heavens, then the earth.
Which Quran are you reading?
This is the clear Quran, sir. Alright. Do you have any other arguments, sir?
Yes, especially Moses' time. Now, was Moses one of, was around during the Hebrew times?
I'm sorry?
Was Moses around during the Hebrew times when the Jews were in Israel?
He is the one who led them out of Egypt, yeah.
That's incorrect.
Moses is not the person who led the Jews out of Egypt?
Moses wasn't around the time at the time when the Jews were in Israel at all.
What are you talking about?
Moses was not around at the time
Based on
when
what?
the Jews even entered
What
Israel
is the
or even
argument?
northern Israel.
What is the argument, sir?
Because one of your verses says that the Samaritan was with Moses.
Okay,
Okay,
a
Samaritans.
Samiri is not the same thing as a Samaritan. It's not the same thing. A Samiri in the Arabic is referring to an individual whose name is a Samiri. It's not saying that he is a Samaritan.
Literally says he's a Samaritan.
I just told you that I don't agree with those translations that say that he's a Samaritan. A Samiri is a person.
A Semite, correct?
No. His name is As-Samiri.
Pull it up.
What verse?
You should know. You're the believer in the Quran. Go ahead.
Brother, you have to bring me the verses. I don't have the entire Quran memorized. Inshallah one day, but not yet.
Surah 2085.
Okay, 2085, sure. Okay, Water network. All right. Here. Allah responded, "We have indeed tested your people in your absence, and the Samiri has led them astray." So his name.
Who is the
or
Samiri?
That's
No,
that's
the
who he
Samiri. Who is
is.
he?
That's who he is. That's the position
And
I hold to. Is that it's a specific individual. I don't
and
hold
what
to
is
the
that?
position
Okay,
that
and
it's
the
a
Samiri,
Samaritan.
search it up and search up the definition
Oh
of
my brother.
Samiri.
Oh my god. I'm
Search it up.
saying, pay attention. Pay attention. There's
Oh, ya
two
Allah.
positions to this. Okay. One is that people believe that it's referring to a Samaritan. The other position is that it's referring to an individual who's referred to as a Samiri, not that he is a Samaritan.
Who came up with this definition?
Oh my god. Hey brother, you don't have any actual.
I'm asking
Get
you,
off
who
my
are the
They get baked and then they just keep asking questions after. Hello?
Hey, you're right. I'm not a believer of either religion, but I just wanted to say, when it comes to the Bible, we obviously know that there is no single author. I don't have an argument. I'm just saying that, and a lot of the Christians that come on here, they just spout it out, pretending. But we know there is no single author to all of this. But the Quran, it does have a single author. We can trace it back. And that's the only difference between them. A lot of these Christians, and I do notice when they do these arguments with you guys, especially you and Cora, is they just randomly spout out random verses that they're not really well versed in. They don't do the research as much as you guys are doing. So a lot of their arguments are basically just getting completely destroyed by you guys. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing. I'm not a believer in either religions. I'm unaffiliated. But yeah, you guys are doing the thing. So yeah, that's all I had to say.
Appreciate it, bro. Why don't you become a Muslim then?
I don't know. One day I might be guided, but
That's
you know
not
what I
how
mean?
it works, man. There's gotta be effort that comes in from your side as well, right? Doing the research and all these things.
Honestly, I've read both books, by the way. All three books actually. I've read the Bible, I've read the Torah, and I've read the Quran, literally page to page. Sorry, I mean, what's it called? Pretty much the Bible though is the one that I'm more versed in, and from my understanding, you can very much tell that there have been many different people that have contributed to it. It's not just the way they speak, the way if you read one of the what's it called? I think it's Mark or one of them. It's very clear that they just copied from another part of the. And to be honest, you can tell that it was recently all compiled. You can tell that the way the language, the structure, there is no singular author. It's just something that's been put together between over time, basically. But yeah, hopefully I hope that I get guided one day. But as it sounds right now, you know what I mean.
Like I said, keep doing your research. Just simply reading the books isn't going to suffice as, being able to be guided, right? You can gain
What do you
guidance from
recommend?
doing. I think tuning into these lives like you've been doing is definitely a good thing because you'll get to see the different arguments and proofs and evidences that are posited by both sides. That's the first thing. But also you could do your
Absolutely.
own research outside of that as well. There's many people who may have YouTube channels now where they are presenting the evidences and reasons as to why you should be Muslim and so on and so forth. You could look at the arguments and see whether or not what they said actually holds up or follows.
To be honest, the only coherent arguments I'm hearing is coming from the Muslims, which is something I never expected, to be honest with you guys. Because where I was
Is that a
raised
dig
in
or a compliment?
No, honestly, that's a compliment. That's a compliment. I'm not trying to dig. I'm not trying to
I'm
incite
just
anything
joking. I'm joking with you, man. Go ahead.
But yeah, that's my side. Sorry. Thank you for bringing me up.
Of course. No problem, man. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
All right. ready for the World Cup, man? Tomorrow. The first 2 games are tomorrow. I think the first one's at 3 p.m. Eastern, and the second one's at 10 p.m. Eastern. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, how are you, ma'am?
Can I ask a question?
Sure, before you ask, can you just tell me what you believe in?
I'm a Christian.
Okay. What's your question?
So my question is, the Islam, they don't like Jewish and a Christian. Why it is happen?
Depends on what you mean by that.
I mean, for example, you accept Hadith, right?
Okay.
So in Hadith, yeah, on Sahih Muslim 2167, it says, don't give greeting for a Jewish and for a Christian, and push to them if you meet somebody on the narrowest road, just push to them to the narrowest
What are you
way it
talking
says.
about,
So
bro?
this is not. Yes, it is on Hadith. Open
What's the
Sahih Muslim
hadith?
2167.
Muslim
Sahih Muslim?
2167?
Yes.
2167, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. It says, do not greet the Jews and Christians before they greet you when you meet any one of them on the roads. Force him to go to the narrowest part of it. What's the issue?
So on this, why you don't give a greeting? Just we are a human.
Yeah,
so
we
why
don't.
you
So
give
the
it?
greeting that it's talking about here is giving salams. We don't initiate the salam. So we don't say salam
But it
alaikum to
doesn't
them.
mention.
Hold on. This is how it's understood. Okay. So we don't say salam alaikum to them first. Okay, that's what it says in the Arabic. لا تبدأوا اليهود ولا النصارى بالسلام. That's what it's saying. You don't initiate the salam with them. Okay. If they initiate the salam with you, then you're able to respond to them if they say it clearly.
So, but it doesn't explain like whether to say salam or salam alaikum.
It does. It says
doesn't
لا
mention.
تبدأوا اليهود ولا النصارى بالسلام. Okay. It literally says it right here in the Arabic. Do not start, okay, or do not initiate with the Jew or the Christian the salam. Okay, this part right here, it says bis salam.
But the English version, it doesn't mention that.
Oh my
I
God.
can't read
Because the
Arabic. I don't
English is just simply translating to you the understanding of the Arabic. But the Arabic is what's actually being spoken about. That's not my fault if you don't understand it, right? I'm explaining it to you now. And I just read it for you as well, and you could hear me saying the word salam, right?
Okay, if you translate like that, okay. But for me, like it doesn't give a
It
positive
literally
meaning.
says the
Also,
word bis salam. What is salam in Islam? What is the salam that we
salam.
initiate in terms of
It's a
greeting?
type. It's a greeting, right?
Yeah, we say salam alaikum, right? To a Jew.
Yeah.
But the problem is what it's saying here, do not be the first to say it to a Jew or a Christian.
Yeah. For example, if you came to my home, so you didn't give me greeting,
No, I
right?
can give you a different greeting. I don't have to say to you salam. I could say to you marhaba. I could say to you ahlan. I could say to you all these other things. But it's saying specifically regarding salam.
Okay, so like in terms of like from this also it says push if you meet them on the road, push to them to the narrowest way. So why you push to me to the narrowest way?
Yes, to stay away from them. You don't need to go approaching them or anything of the sorts.
So why you go to the narrowest way? Why you push me?
I don't think it says push. It says, and when you meet any of them on the roads, force him to go to the narrowest part of it. It's just simply saying to get him away from you. So you don't have to push them or anything. It doesn't say push.
What does it mean force?
Yeah, so
What does it mean
forcing them,
forcing them?
it just simply means to get them to go over there. But that doesn't mean that you have to
Exactly.
push them.
It's the same like it's same thing. Like it doesn't have difference. Like push to
No,
them
that's
to the
not
narrowest or
what
force it to
force here.
them.
That's not what force here is entailing, sir.
Okay, that's okay. Also, I have also a question on Surah 3:28, I think.
What is it?
Surah 3:28.
20 what?
3:28.
328?
Yes.
1 second. Believers should not take disbelievers as guardians instead of the believers, and whoever does so will have nothing to hope for from Allah unless it is a precaution against their tyranny. And Allah warns you about Himself, and to Allah is the final return. What's the question?
So why you take non-believer means Christian and the Jews? So why you take like non-believer as a guardian? For example, teachers are a guardian.
It says
So on this
don't
point,
take them as guardians.
so for example, teachers are a guardian. So
Oh my
as a
gosh.
Muslim, you cannot learn by Muslim
Yeah,
by Christian teacher, right?
this is referring to people as it pertains to war and such, okay? And living in their countries, let's say, right? Unless it says, where is it? Whoever should not take disbelievers as guardians instead of the believers, and whoever does so will have nothing to hope for from Allah unless it is a precaution against their tyranny. Okay. So it's saying that there is still exceptions that are being made here. There's no issue.
So
Again.
like this is like it's not healthy, like it is not healthy, Like as a human,
Hey bro, do you
we're
have
like
do you
all are
have
a
some sort
creation
of
of
actual
God.
issue
So
with
you
Islam?
must
So
don't be
I feel like
heretic,
all your issues are just emotional.
No, I don't have. No,
Yeah, I
I
think you're
don't
just
have. No, I
emotional.
don't have. It's not like that. But like
All right, man.
no, I'm not emotional. I'm not.
All right, guys. I think I'm gonna call it here, inshallah. I'm really hoping, inshallah, Saturday will be they'll drop the other 3v3. I hope. If they do, well, regardless of whatever video they drop, if it includes me, then we'll be doing the review. I think around 12 Eastern. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be doing the rest of them on my YouTube. So yeah, inshallah. What 3v3? Well, there was multiple debates that I had. I didn't have just one. We had a 3v3 on the historical Jesus being, the historical Jesus, did he preach the Trinity? No. Obviously, we were in the position of no. The second debate is the Quran, the final revelation of God, but really it was just Islamic dilemma. Another one was a 1v4 of between 4 Muslims and 1 Christian, which is better for society, Christianity or Islam. And then there was a fourth video, which was just a discussion. It was a 2-on-2 discussion, 2 Christians, 2 Muslims. That's it. How's your schedule gonna look like during the World Cup? Well, I just went through the group stages, and I don't see anything that's actually going to conflict with the lives in terms of games that I want to watch. You guys got lucky. The one time I think that Egypt is playing at like 9 p.m. is... I don't think it's the one that's coming now. Actually, I don't remember. Hold on. Let me see. The first game that they have is the 15th. Where is it? Obviously games that I can't watch, I'm not going to watch them. Like, there's a few of them that I want to watch that I won't be able to, but I'll probably be ending the live around 9 p.m. every day. Like, I'll start 7 and 9. Where am I looking? Oh. June 15th at 3 p.m. is the first game Egypt is playing. And then I think there's another one that's going to be at 9. But that's way later. Okay. June 21st at 9 p.m. Dang. That's just like... Oh, it's only like a week. Okay. Yeah, so that Sunday, June 21st, I'm going to be... what's it called? I'm going to end the live at 9. But yeah. No, I'm not gonna take anybody else. I need to go eat. I haven't eaten. Alright guys, I will call it here, inshallah. Appreciate you guys for coming. Sorry, by the way, for ghosting you guys for like 3 days. But inshallah, I'll be back tomorrow. Don't worry. Football, not soccer. Hey man, it's soccer over here. You guys are playing in my turf now. You guys are playing in the US of A. Alright? So, in the US of A, it is called soccer. Let's not be ignorant to the culture, all right? All right. But yeah, I think it'll be good. Who's actually gonna be watching tomorrow? I'm gonna watch. What is it? There's only 2 games tomorrow, I think. There's 2 games tomorrow and 2 games the next day. Yeah, tomorrow's Mexico and South Africa, and then South Korea and Czechia, I think. I don't know how to say that. And then the day after is gonna be Canada and Bosnia, and USA and Paraguay. I'll probably watch the first game. I don't know if I'm gonna watch South Korea, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I'm watching South Korea, chat. At 10 p.m.? Heck no. When is Jordan's match? Let me see. Jordan's first match is gonna be June 17th against Austria at midnight. What the heck? Where the heck are they playing this? Oh, this gotta be on the West Coast. Where are they playing? Midnight. Oh my god, these freaking game times are crazy. Oh yeah, it is on the West Coast. San Francisco Bay. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Still, that's crazy. West Side. What about Algeria? Guys, just go look up the schedule. Just type in World Cup schedule. It'll come up, I promise. Alright. Yeah. Let's call it here, inshallah. I'm about to go eat some spinach. Some good hearty spinach, inshallah. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all of you Muslims who come and support. I appreciate the non-Muslims for also being here and tuning in and maybe learning a thing or two as well. And yeah, thank you all for coming. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to the YouTube.